When training calisthenics for endurance, where do people usually go wrong?
Oh, overreaching. Training until failure. That's the first thing that comes to my mind. Training until failure every time I show up to the park, to the gym, or to the home gym. Yeah. It's the feeling that the endurance athlete chases every time he shows up or she shows up to the park. It's the pump, is the feeling like enough amount of work was done at the session. You know what I mean? So that's something that deviates the athlete from, let's say, managing the stress, managing the recovery properly, because you show up to every next training pre-fatigued. And while sometimes it may make sense training for the recovery capacity, improving, all those things, but most often it plays a bad thing for the athlete, and it just accumulates a lot of fatigue. And then we may progress for a certain amount of time with I call it the shocking therapy, especially when the new athlete comes to my coaching, for example, and we start the new training, new exercise choices, maybe more precision in the training, and then the progress it just goes skyrockets, but then it needs to be regulated after the first shocking wave to the body, to the central nervous system, so we can actually digest the work that we've done over the past month of shocking therapy. But when you don't have this knowledge about your body, the skill to listen to the body and all those things, you may overreach with those things and accumulate. So you progress without the guidance, you progress skyrocketing, but then you pay the price for it. You need to recover. You are lost. You are sitting back and but I've been training for the past few months vigorously, consistently. And I should be gaining more strength, but I can't because my body is just saying no. So then the revision comes. We need to redefine the whole training process. And that would be it.
That misconception is so common because we look at calisthenics, bodyweight exercise, high reps. It is something, if you have a decent enough level of strength, you can do pull-ups, push-ups, dips every single day. There's never going to be a point where you're so fatigued you can't do a single rep. And it's this misbelief that, because it's a little bit easier to just do bodyweight exercise, that I can train every single day, train to failure. But inevitably, I would say a very similar thing to you, that training too much, being too excited, can I train every day? Can I train to failure all the time? You can, but not for very long.
I always use this quote, just because you can doesn't mean you should.
How would you describe the endurance side of calisthenics to someone that hasn't seen it before?
It's how would I even put it? The definition of the endurance in calisthenics would depend on the category, or let's say subcategory of the endurance, because we can speak about statics, endurance, street lifting, multiple categories of calisthenics. So in endurance, we have the reps and sets, body weight, weighted reps and sets. We have even the competitions in which the static elements are being practiced in an endurance way, and you just knock out the other athletes in who holds the front lever the longest, or who's the first to reach the 60 seconds of cumulative holds, or something like this. Yes, so I would say it's the grinding element that makes it the endurance. Of course, we can speak about pull-up, push-up, the basics, the fundamentals that we should practice regardless on which level we are. Sometimes we need to just come back to those basics and connect the dots, missing links in our strength, and 2 steps back to make 3 steps forward, all those things. But yes, pull-up, push-up, dip at a higher rate with the higher volume than the casual strength gaining workout would look like, I would say. Yeah, rep range 5 and above, depending on the level, of course. Whatever makes you reach near failure state, that would be in the way that you don't do 1 or 2 reps only per set, but more than reaching your maximum, but very carefully. That's how I would put it. But there are multiple definitions that I can put in here for the endurance, I would say.
Yeah. It's just good to have a general idea for people that are listening, because when most of us get into calisthenics, there's always that idea of got to master your basics before you do heavy weighted work or doing the skills. A common recommendation is to get your endurance first. Is this something you believe is good for base building?
I would say in the very beginning for someone who just starts the calisthenics, I would say that trying to figure out what's your road, what's your journey is going to be. So you should set your goals for sure. They will define your program, whether it's the more strength based or endurance based or skill based. But in the end, at the end of the day, for the beginner, we can actually play it all together. And after the first, let's say, few months, we can dial into something that is truly weaker and we need to push further in there. For example, your strength is good, but you cannot recover within the session or for the next session after what you've done or what you're doing in the session. Yeah, so you need to work on this recovery capacity with maybe less weights, so less strength-based workout, but more reps with a shorter rest to just build up this, lactic acid resistance just to even work out for strength, right? For me, there is no strength without endurance. There is no endurance without strength. Yes, it's the strength and endurance in the end. If you ask me, I would always tell, well, what I'm doing, what I have been competing in, the reps and sets is the strength and endurance for me. My definition of endurance would be, more like where the strength element is not involved. Running, it's involved, but at the smaller portion, right? You still need strength to push yourself off the ground, right? But
it's relative to your threshold.
Exactly. Yes.
You're someone who's been training calisthenics for over 15 years. First of all, major shout out for sticking to something for, geez, man, more than 3 years deserves credit. But shout out to you as a fellow 10 plus year veteran. Thanks, man. Thanks. You've had endurance as one of your main priorities. Like, you can do strength skills as well. You've dabbled in some little bit of weighted calisthenics for more moderate reps. I've seen you over the years. What are the real benefits that you've found from this more endurance calisthenics? What are the benefits that you get from it?
Injury resilience. Like, I'm really resilient to injuries. My body can sustain the stress. I play tennis. Yes, I play tennis, I play football, I play basketball, not professionally. I'm a sportsman. I'm an athlete. I love being, active and spending my off day from the workout on the tennis court. So you have a lot of movements that require, agility and like twisting here and there. And while it comes from the comparison and experience. While someone who does not do any calisthenics, especially endurance, shows up to the court with me, he's cracking his, a little bit behind, let's say, in the physical condition, and I'm moving around very well. I'm picking up most of the sports safely. I'm able to move here and there. I'm able to listen to my body and understand it. And I believe that calisthenics in general give it to you. And training, for skill within the endurance context is still possible, because it's still in the endurance, we still have certain skill elements. Skill doesn't end in statics. We have multiple skill elements, such as the muscle up technique, right? It's different for everybody. Or let's say the one arm pull up. You may pull up like this. You may pull up with the twist, right? Or the pull up grip width. And you work on those techniques and you work on the imbalances from side to side, and it's beautiful. So the skill is never absent in the endurance. So I would say ability to understand my body under fatigue, under the extreme conditions where, like I said before, the endurance is grind. Yeah, it's like woo, woo, woo. So understanding that your body can actually push more and nothing is gonna happen as far as you control, and you're not just training until blacking out. So yeah, that's something that I would emphasize about endurance, understanding my body and how well-rounded I become thanks to it. But it's not only about endurance. I would say calisthenics in general. And my priority since day one it's been calisthenics in general, endurance specifically, of course. That's where I competed in, even though my very first competition was about freestyle, the old school freestyle where you would do like 3 seconds phone lever and then you would just stand up, clap, like suggest people to clap for your performance. And then
the bar was a lot lower back in the early 2000s.
Exactly. And that's funny because nobody would expect me to name my first competition title as the freestyle one. Yeah, usually it's like endurance and sets and reps, but that's something that defined my vision for calisthenics for the upcoming years. It was only my 3rd year in calisthenics when I won my first competition, and it sculpted my vision for this. Not to say I'm complete, but trying to be the best in what I do and what I like in calisthenics, which is strength skills, some statics. I even did my 360 back in the day. Just did it once, checked, and thank you. Yes, just
it's on the resume.
Exactly, just to experience it. Yeah, there are certain things that I practice more, but I try to cover calisthenics in general, and I'm for this unity and trying to learn from each other and take the best for you.
I'd say calisthenics for endurance, it's more than reps, it's resilience. Because when I first started training, 2009, doing high rep stuff, pyramid sets, you're doing hundreds of pull-ups, hundreds of push-ups in a workout as a teenager. That does something to your brain, bro. It just sets this level of, I've got pain, discomfort, I've got this burn in my muscles. Safely, I'm going to keep pushing myself. Ooh, what did I do last time? I'm going to try and do some more reps. I'm going to try and do this routine in a shorter amount of time. Beyond just the physical stuff, you apply that type of mentality, you can do sports, you can do university stuff. It's just the beauty of calisthenics.
I gotta agree more. It's an absolute art of mastering yourself through exercise. And you can apply it in multiple areas of your life, just like you said.
What I also really like and dislike about calisthenics, if you slack on your nutrition, things start to get a little bit heavier, don't they?
They do. At a certain point, you just start to realize that it's not just the grind. It's not just you showing up to the park. It's also you regulating, managing those decision making. Yes, micro decisions that add up to the bigger decision that leads you to the success. Yes, that you chose for yourself when you started. Yeah, or that you visualized. Yeah, so then you need to calculate those calories, or at least an approximation, calculate those. You should take care of your body deficiencies, because if your shoulders behave differently on the pull-up bar, to a certain extent, they can, of course, imbalances are totally natural. But when you see that it's definitely a strong deviation, then you should work on it. So yeah, it's a mastery, constant mastery.
So for people that are listening that are excited, they want to increase their reps on all calisthenics movements, they want to get more endurance, what are the smartest progressive overload strategies that you like to use?
Oof. There are multiple ways. I would say to each his own. I would like to share my approach to this. So I see the workout plan as something that we can, of course, control, prioritize, do the deloads, everything that we know about the proper training and program making. But I approach the trainings conceptually. So day number 1, we would have skill-based training, a pull skill-based training with some strength accessories that are only complementary, not something that comes in the beginning of the workout, right? And then the second day could be the same, but for the push. So push, strength, and skill and strength, I mean. And I would approach it in a way that I have a specific RPE for the day that I should feel, that I should achieve. And I use multiple tools. It could be EMOM, it could be a drop set, it could be a pyramid, it could be different principles of the workout, but I apply them in a way that I target the missing point or the point where I struggle with the most. So maybe 100 pull-ups in a pyramid, I can split it in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, building up to the number that I'm comfortable with and back down, then back up again until I reach the 100, right? But I can also put it into the EMOM and make an EMOM of 10 minutes with 10 pull-ups, yes, which is more intense. So depending on where I'm at in my training plan, I start, for example, with 3 weeks ramping up. Then the 4th week is the deload. Then next block, 4 weeks in training, 5th week is the deload. And then I just push my deload 1 week later. Yes. Unless I feel the need, that I need a deload or like the hypercompensation due to life happens, stress comes, traveling, some extra fatigue has been accumulated. So I need to reschedule something, take an extra day off. But approaching these things conceptually allows me to use multiple training methods to reach the same goal. You know what I mean? Yes. So it's not really rigid, like Monday this week and Monday next week. We just stick to 5 sets of 5 or I progress and overloaded into like one more rep next week. Yes. I may just apply less rest, or maybe I will include more isometric holds, or like, to spend more time under tension in the end of the set instead of adding more rep to it. Or I would make the EMOM, it's every minute on the minute. I would make it every 50 seconds. Yes. Or I would distribute the reps in a different way. I would do the infamous barbarian requirement, for example. I could scale it down.
Here we go. The best.
Yes, we're coming from the same background. I know you yeah. Once a barbarian, always a barbarian.
Completing those was a trial by fire for sure.
Yes. So you can scale this down. Originally, let me just give you one of those variations because it's been changing over the years. So I think the one that we started with was 40 dips, 20 pull-ups, 50 push-ups, and 5 muscle-ups. It was like 2010. Then it was 5, 45, 25, 55, 5, I think, like this. So we can split it into 2. Let's say 5 muscle-ups, 50 dips, or 45 dips, then 25 pull-ups, sorry. Then we could rest for 5 minutes. Then we would do the rest of it. Yes, the second segment. Next Monday, I could do the same thing, but in an EMOM, but with less reps. Yes, so I would do 6 minutes of EMOM, and I would do 2 muscle-ups, then maybe 25 dips, but every minute and a minute. So the intensity increases, the volume drops a little bit. Yes, and I'm staying rigid with the timing. Then I could do just the max rep approaching, or accumulated reps towards the amount of the requirement. For example, just giving this example of the BBRs to share the concept. And then you can approach it like you can ramp up the numbers. Say instead of 5, you will have 15 muscle ups, then you will have 100 dips, and you just go through the exercise cumulatively, ramping up to the total number. Yes, within the time or without time. So it could be as fast as possible routine, or just the time routine. Within the 5 minutes, you should achieve that amount of muscle up reps. So you teach yourself the grinding element, the control element, dependency on the time with the EMOM, and then you also practice the routine as it is, but with the rest time in between the exercises, and then shortening it, the rest time over a few weeks ahead. Yes, so just a short overview of how you can play with the same routine differently.
Let me try and explain this to see if I've understood it, and then the listeners will probably have a similar frame of mind as well. So you have a rough schedule that you stick to. You work out, say, for example, 5 days a week. And on those days, you tend to do a pulling workout, a pushing workout, a leg workout, rest however you want, may repeat that again, the pull and push. Or you could be doing multiple upper body workouts in a week, whatever it is like that. Within that, you have your different workouts that you do, whether it's EMOMs, pyramids, different ways of structuring things. And then over time, when you repeat the same type of workout, you try and beat it in some way, whether through reps, time manipulation, depending on what you're doing on the day.
Yeah, pretty much. So basically, I stick to the schedule in a way that I can always postpone one workout because I overreached in the last one. So it's never rigid.
Not trained to failure again, were you?
Yes, exactly. I try to stick to listening to my body. Of course, it takes time to learn more about your body. It takes experience. It takes testing different routines, different weights for this or that rep range, collecting information about your body. That's why taking notes about your workouts and remembering or even putting down how you felt about the workout makes a lot of impact. Yes, especially for the beginners, because if we just work out like robots without trying to understand what's going on to my body, is gonna be quite tricky. And even after 1 year of working out, you may end up like, whoa, do I even know something about my body, or did I just work out? Yes. So actually, I expected this question, honestly. And I actually have the whole schedule prepared here, so I can share.
Oh, no, you're cheating, man. Come on.
But it's going to be easier because I have 2 weeks cycle. And 1 week looks one way, and the next week looks a little bit differently. So you put it really nicely in the way that I stick to certain concept of the training. So day number 1 for the week number 1 is pull strength and skill, low weight or body weight. Yes. Then day number 2 would be push strength and skill. Strength and skill comes together. I mean, like for the day number 1 could be one arm pull up to muscle up transitions, front lever pull ups, and then some EMOM in the end of the like Gironda pull ups, or just weighted reps to finish my body, so to speak. But in a moderate way, because I build up throughout the week towards the last workout of the week or the stage. I approach it not weekly, but like stage. Week puts the time frame for me. Yeah, so then I kind of may rush myself into the workout just because I want to squeeze it in a week. But I approach it on a stage level, first stage, second stage. Yes. So the day number 2, push strength and skill, low weight and body weight. Could be also handstand push-ups, planche workouts, impossible dips, and then dips or overhead presses. Yes, as a complementary work. Then day 3 would be pull and push, reps and sets style, usually body weight. Just sets in the bar, like 5 muscle ups, 5 pull ups, 20 push-ups, something like this. Also still moderate intensity. As I said, I'm building up towards the last training and the stage. So first training could be 50% of my maximum output. The second training could be 55, then 60%. And I'm building up towards the hardest workout in the end. Okay, coming back to the schedule. Day 4 would be cardio plus or leg plyometric and speed workout. It could be tennis, could be basketball, could be sprints, could be me running in the forest or cycling in the forest, stuff like this. I don't push too hard in the cardio. It's more of a time for me to reconnect to myself, understand my recovery as well through, the blood flow and the blood circulation being increased. And I just feel, you know what I mean? Feeling the body better through activity. Yes. Then day number 5 is purely skill, pull and push, body weight. It's sometimes supersets and you see, I love skills. Even though I'm coming from the mostly endurance background, recent years have been quite all around for me in terms of this training. So yeah, day 6, weighted strength and endurance, which is the hardest training for me. And I go all in on that day. So I'm ramping up towards the last day number 6 on the schedule. Ideally, yes, if I don't have to take some breaks. And day number 7 is either rest completely or some easy cardio. And now proceeding to the second week, I will also mention the comparison between the first and second. So the first 2 days are basically the same. Pull strength and skill. but the body weight only this time. So first week, you remember I mentioned for the first 2 days, the strength and skill, low weighted or body weight. So I may even throw some 2 kilograms for my one arm pull up on the first week, or like weighted muscle ups on the first day. Technique mastery, not necessarily grinding. But on the second week in the cycle, I do it purely body weight. So I don't do too many weights. You will understand why later in the second week is going to be more weights. So day number 3, then again, legs, plyometrics, cardio. Day number 4, weighted reps and sets. So you see last week in the week number 1, the day number 3 was pull and push. It was 3 days in a row. This week, the second one, the legs plyometrics come on the day 3. So it's kind of a rest for my upper body. It's legs plyometrics or cardio. And then I go for the harder session with weighted reps and sets. You know what I mean? For this reason, I don't do weighted on the first few days of this second week. I know it's complex, but I'm trying my best.
No, I'm with you. This
Awesome.
it all makes sense.
Awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Day number 5 is either rest or cardio, depending how I feel. Again, coming back to listening to my body. Then day number 6 is also the one that I ramp up towards, is the heavy weighted strength and endurance. And this is honestly one of my favorite workouts, where I just go first for like 2-3 rep range, or some drop set from 2-3 rep range to 5-6. And then I proceed to some weighted muscle ups in the EMOM, maybe some, many people would call it overshooting for reps, like 20 minutes EMOM of 30 kg muscle up or 25 kg like what? Why would you do it? But it's the same thing that we spoke about: resilience, the grind, the ability of the body to sustain. It's the conditioning. The definition of conditioning is EMOM goes really well to master your technique, to master your understanding of the body, and within the same exercise, and you have the consistent time of rest as well. And then I would go for handstand push-ups, maybe some, if I feel good enough, one-arm pull-ups. I genuinely consider one-arm pull-up and handstand push-up as a really nice complementary work for street lifting and weighted calisthenics in general.
I love that, Ruslan. I agree 100%. I think they're heavily underrepresented. People, it's either they specialize in them and that's all you see them do. You rarely see people doing the sets and reps, other skills, plus one-arm pull, chin, and handstand push-up. I know it's a lot of training, and especially with, say, the handstand push-up, it is very skill-orientated. I mean, you've got the balance, you've got the strength, you've got how much fatigue you've accrued through a training cycle impacts it. The one-arm pull-up, one-arm chin, a little bit more raw strength. So that one's, I think people just want to do their two-arm work too much.
For me, the unilateral things, especially the one-arm pull-ups that we started talking about, this is not only the show-off, it's not only the skill to post on your Instagram, it's the tool. It's a screening tool. How much of the external rotation and depression of the shoulder you have on your right in comparison to your left, regardless of your level. You may be advanced and you're able to do one-arm pull-ups, or you're just starting and you may want to implement some single arm hanging or scapula pull-ups or rotations to discover more about how your body behaves side to side and front to back as well.
What I say about the one-arm pull-up, it is the equivalent of a beginner learning how to do a pull-up on two arms, except when you're more intermediate or advanced. You've seen a beginner overweight male, or a male that's not strong, or many women as well, all in that bucket, try and do their first rep, and they just can't engage the scaps, can't initiate that pull. You take someone that's been doing workouts for some time, can you please do a one-arm pull-up for me? They do the exact same thing on one arm. So it is a perfect thing what you just said there with it as an assessment tool, because can you depress your scap on a single arm? Do you have enough scapular stability and strength through there? Number one. Number two, is your grip strength enough? That is super underrated, because if you can't grip it, you can't rip that one-arm pull.
Grip is so important. It's not only you holding onto the bar, it's you engaging the whole body through gripping the bar. I hope it makes sense. It should make sense. You grip it and you transfer this. You regulate the contraction, the control over your body through the thing that you're holding on to. Basically, it's like
if you put lifting straps on, so you took away the grip component, you would still not be able to generate enough force through the kinetic chain to your back to be able to do the movement.
100%. That's why every time I see a student of mine putting gloves for his pull-ups, I will always say it's a no-go. I would rather see you ripping off another blister than seeing you
Mental resilience, boys. Come on.
than seeing you disconnecting from the bar. That's what I'm talking about. It's a layer between you and the bar. You cannot, like you said, you put it perfectly. You cannot you cannot put enough effort, then you cannot control the bar or yourself on the bar.
This episode is sponsored by Fitness FAQs. Learn how to master calisthenics with the best bodyweight workouts. Use the coupon code podcast20 at checkout to get 20% off when shopping at Fitness FAQs. Hurry, take advantage of this discount and enjoy the progress. Just coming back to your routine, firstly, thanks for going through that. It is awesome to see what someone that is really experienced, high level, actually does in their training instead of just do this type of thing and it is what it is. Yours makes sense because you've got the frequency, you've got variation of the same exercise, but you're still keeping it specific. You're doing bodyweight reps, then weighted for the different movements. And you answered something there as well that many people want to know, which is, can you do endurance plus skills? And you've outlined that, of course, you're not going to be the world champion in either if you do both. But if you put the skills first, you got plenty of energy there to give to the endurance afterwards.
Yeah, I agree 100%. There are some freaks that are good in both. Yeah, like Vitaly Feshchuk or even Simon Hausers from Sweden. Those two, man. But Vitaly, man, it's a freak of nature. Like there are some individuals that are just beasting out and everything, but like you said, you still have plenty of room within your energy levels after skills to play with endurance. But you may not be like the competitive athlete, or you may not be the competitive athlete immediately. You may want to improve your skill for 3 years, let's say, then endurance for another 3 years, and then you've become a complete athlete. While I'm saying so 3 years here, 3 years there, it doesn't mean that one excludes the other. We have 100%, we have a scale, 70% for skills, 30% for endurance. Then when I'm improving in skills, I may want to add a little bit more of the endurance and make it 60-40. Your goals dictate your outcome.
It's great you use that
training.
Seesaw analogy there of putting your time and energy into either endurance or skills, because a pitfall that I got into pretty early in my calisthenics career was you learn more, you get excited. Okay, I can do a ton of sets and reps. I've discovered these skills. I'm not going to reduce any of my sets and reps. I'm just going to do an equal amount of skills as well. And that may work for a little bit when you're beginner intermediate because you're just not strong enough to create a lot of stress. But what happened to me is I was very stubborn. I wouldn't want to take anything away. And I wasn't making any progress. If not, I was regressing.
Happened to me as well. It's just wanting too much too soon or too much at the same time. And I think back in the day, we've all been there, trying to explore. While it may make you regress or stagnate for a moment, it's still a priceless experience about your body, because the amount of information you collect through this failed period, I wouldn't really call it a failure. It's an exploration. It's the journey, and this is the beauty of sports. Not only calisthenics, of course, we speak about calisthenics, but in general, in sports, you never stop learning. You explore. You expose yourself to certain things. So then this program, that program, this exercise series, that exercise series, intensity, volume. all those variables. Yes, different traveling, the tasting, the different climate in your training, all those things. It's beautiful.
That's one way to overcome the question of how do you stay motivated for 15 years? How do you avoid burnout? How do you stay consistent? You got to make it fun. As soon as it starts to get stale, that's when you start, oh, I'm going to skip a workout. I'm going to go 50% for weeks and weeks. I'm just going to drag my feet through a workout. I'm sure you have to hold yourself back more often than not because you get so excited about trying that one arm pull up and then doing all your sets and reps afterwards, and just because it's your routine that you've come up with.
Yeah. You know what was my main nemesis, or maybe the trait that would always or would often lead me to some burning out point, is reattempting something that I failed. Back in the day, I didn't know about auto-regulation or adjusting the workout based on my KPI, key performance indicator. Is something that I would use in my workout in the beginning, because yes, I created the whole plan for Monday, correct? But my body may not be ready to align with my thinking process for this day.
So if you hadn't written down that you had 5 hours of sleep and you've been traveling, but you reflected on a time when you did a similar workout, when you're just at home resting, perfect nutrition, then you can get upset. But if you have the data, you can be more of your own friend in that situation.
Absolutely. And my best exercises for this, well, it's individual. You should see for yourself the exercise that you are familiar with the most, and your body within the context of this exercise. For me, is the muscle up, one arm pull up. For example, I show up to the park and I have the written down workout. Yes. First thing I do after my warm up, of course, I try to listen to my body during the warm up. Sometimes I feel heavier at the warm up. Then the body performs like a diesel. Sometimes you need a longer warm up, or you start to feel good only in the middle of the session. But after the warm up, I try to do a few sets of something that shows me whether I'm explosive enough, whether I have enough juice for this session, how my body is feeling in this one arm pull up, which is hard enough for me to hard enough intensity wise for me to see whether I have some discrepancies in a day, some deviation from my normal state, from a normal condition, to be able to give my best performance. And then I either increase the rest time in between the sets if I'm feeling a little bit slower, and maybe it only will be needed for the first segment of the workout, for the main segment, the hardest. Then the secondary, more complementary work can be done at the same rate, because my body will perform better later in the workout, or maybe it's not that taxing, that demanding. Yes, so I would use certain skills, certain movements to calculate my energy for the workout, and then based on this, I would make decisions.
That's really smart, because if you just go in just with a meathead mindset, like a gym bro just saying, no, I'm going to do this no matter what, then unfortunately you're not going to get a very productive training session, because you're just going to be doing attempt after attempt. And of course, there's a time and a place for attempts to, training phase to see where you're at, measure your progress. But if every workout you're coming in and when you're not feeling good, you're smashing your head against the pull-up bar, so to speak, you're not going to make really good long-term sustainable gains.
True. You only accumulate more fatigue. It's like at the competition when the athlete doesn't listen to the judge and continues to do the no rep, and it's only the fatigue that accumulates. You're not really moving anywhere.
Talk to me about weighted calisthenics for the goal of endurance. Is it actually that helpful if I am getting my 1 RM up on my weighted pull-up and weighted dip? Does that translate to endurance? What's your experience been?
It does, but specificity matters in the end. You may progress to a certain extent in strict lifting by doing body weight or low weighted or medium weighted cycle for a month or two, but it may be only, it's occasional. I would put it this way, because the more elite you are in the weighted, the more you've peaked, you maximize your strength, like the final rep athletes, yes, the World Cup. For them, doing all of a sudden for like a few months just endurance may not make any sense. They will just lose the readiness to perform with the 2 rep range, 1 rep range basically for the competition matters. They will lose the efficiency there. But for someone who's beginner or intermediate, but not above intermediate for sure, not intermediate to advanced, body weight training for a few months with the shocking therapy, coming back to the first thing we spoke about during the podcast, is going to help. It may help. It doesn't have to, but it may ramp up your 1 rep max by 5. Sometimes it's even 10 kg. Yes, but you will not proceed any further because you don't practice. If you don't practice 1-2 rep range, this exertion. Yes, same goes in the opposite way, the other way around. Split lifting will increase your speed because the recruitment of the motor units is going to be faster. You're going to be faster on the bar, but you may go for like 20 reps like this, but then on the 21st, you will suddenly face the wall and you're just, whoa. And it stops you because you don't condition yourself for the higher rep range. And in the end, specificity matters, but you can play around it. You can play and manipulate when your level allows you to, because like I said, for the athletes, it's different.
It's a bit depressing that it doesn't work that way, because you'd like to think, oh, I'm doing a pull-up with weight and then I'm doing a pull-up with my body weight. If I just push myself really hard like I do on my strength stuff for low reps, it should translate automatically to the endurance, but it's just not the case from my experience. Even for stuff, say weighted pull-ups for moderate reps, just say you're playing with like 6 to 8 rep range, it's completely different to doing a single, double, or triple. Completely different.
Even the eccentric portion is sometimes being skipped for the 1 rep max training. It's just, I don't really need the eccentric. I've mastered the specific amount of control in my eccentric, but then I'm just going to pull up and that's it. Yes, but for the 5, 6, 7 rep range, you spend way more time under tension. Way more time. And it's different. Yeah.
I've noticed in your training, you used contrast training or post-activation potentiation for your endurance stuff. Could you explain why and what that looks like?
Yeah, it's basically one of my favorite things to do in terms when I want to perform faster, or I have like a speed routine to go with my reps and sets. Let's say something to perform under 1 minute. Yes, 10 muscle ups, 10 bar dips, and pull ups, for example. Yes, within a minute. Then what I would do is I would put this contrast method, the post-activation potentiation method, in a way that I would start, of course, warm up. Then I would proceed to some potentiation, as we said. I would do sets of 3, or maybe even an EMOM of 3, 4, up to 5 minutes, depending on my time availability. But to not do some junk volume, I would stick to 3 sets or even 2 per exercise that may maximize my performance in the following routine that is the priority for the day. So I would do, say, 50 to 75 even % of my 1 rep max capacity on the pull-up, for example, for 1 or 2 reps, with the focus on the speed and control and engaging my body for those 2-3 sets. Then I would do the dip, for example, because the routine involves some bar dip. Yes. And then I may do some muscle up as well, some maybe high pull-up or explosive pull-ups with the weight, just to trick my body into moving faster, into moving more explosive. So,
but not fatiguing it.
Exactly. It's only a tool. So you don't have to feel fatigued or like your bicep needs to become twice the size bigger in order to potentiate. This is literally just like tasting the pie, like this, literally. And then you just proceed, you make the appetite stronger, so to speak, and then you perform better. So you're basically tricking the body with the stronger output for less reps. So basically recruiting the strength units. That's what the strength workout looks like. Yes, you work on the lower rep range with more control over the eccentric and concentric, and you also manipulate the speed with which you want to go. Yes, if the set is longer, you may want to dedicate a little bit more reps in a set to potentiate. Yes, you may want to go for 3-4 reps with the weight. So you may want to use like 50% of your 1 rep max instead of closer to your 1 rep max, because otherwise you will just fatigue yourself too much. Yes. If the set is just, for example, for the one arm pull-up training, I often use the potentiation as well, not only in endurance, because then the body becomes kind of lighter. Yes. So
let me share with you how I've used post-activation potentiation recently. So I set myself a goal of doing a 25 kilo muscle up. Now, in the world of street lifting, it's not the best, it's not the heaviest, but I'm more of a generalist kind of guy. So I set myself that challenge. And I noticed I kept getting stuck at 20 kilos on the muscle up. Now, I was realized and reflecting when I'm warming up, I didn't actually do heavier pull-ups before I tried that 25 kilo muscle up. So I just do a set of bodyweight pull-ups, and then I'd do maybe a set with like 20 on there or something. And then I'd start doing bodyweight muscle ups, 10, 15, 20, etc. Then over time, like, why don't I just try doing heavy pull-ups first before I start the muscle ups? So I worked up to 40 kilos pull-up for like 3 reps, which isn't that much for me. I can do 60 for like sets of 6 relative to that percentage we just discussed. Did that. Man, I'm feeling pretty fast on these warm-up muscle-ups, building that confidence. And lo and behold, I got the 25 kilo muscle-up recently. So I was like, yeah.
I saw it. Congrats, bro. It looks clean, actually. Very nice. I'm a big fan of muscle-up. It's my favorite movement. And what you just said is the way I did my first 35 kg or 40 kg muscle-up when I was training the street lifting vigorously.
Relax, man. Do you have to show me up on my own podcast here? He's good. That's why he's on the show, boys.
Well, to be fair, you are so complete of an athlete, man. I've been watching you for years. You've been doing so many things nicely and meritoric, I would say. Like it's really nice to see. It's like you said, it may not be competitive, but it doesn't have to be. You show a different way of approaching calisthenics and being well-rounded and enjoying the process and the physique as well, bro. The compliment. I think everybody in the comment section will agree, and we can all clap for your work, man. It's
no, kudos, man. It's all about defining what your success is. Because you go online, you'll see full planches, front levers for 45 seconds, and you've got to really define how far you want to take things and what your particular goals are, because then you'll really enjoy the process, you'll be pleased with where you get, and more importantly, you'll know when it's time to move on. So for me, I have no goals of doing a 50 kilo muscle up. I've learnt a lot through building up this strength specificity for 1 rep with weighted, and I've learnt a lot, enjoyed it, and then it's like, okay, what do I want to move on to next? That's, I guess, my philosophy.
And this is the beauty of it. Calisthenics has no limits. If there is no category for you, create yours.
Oh, that should be on a shirt, man. Let's call up Gore Nation. Hell yeah.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
But coming back to the topic, I agree 100%. The post-activation potentiation method works well for 1 rep max increments for the muscle up. Like you said, you did some potentiation with the pull-ups. You don't even have to touch dips, just pull up. Muscle up is more pull explosiveness based. You still need to pick up the pushing element in there. There is a pushing segment depending on how high your pull is. And all those things is a whole different topic, but worth mentioning as well. So yes, a pull-up would be just enough for this, and then going for your 1 rep max, 1 arm pull-up, or even front lever pull-ups, max reps and the pull-ups without leaving the bar, whether it's body weight or low weighted, those things. It gives you this confidence boost and feeling the body. It's like you've already done the first set of the workout, after which you usually feel maybe a little bit more connected, but without fatiguing yourself.
We've spoken about the muscle up. I want to dive deeper into it because you've got some silky smooth reps. I mean, I see your wrists rotating over that bar, and I just think this man has got some glorious mobility, some bulletproof joints. I love that term. Can we talk about if you have someone coming to you, I want to learn a muscle up, I want to increase my reps. What type of techniques or training do you generally give people?
All right. So when it comes to the muscle up, we're all very individual in terms of the length of your limbs, anthropometrics, basically the measurements. Yes, someone has the longer humerus bone, someone has more loose shoulder joint, and it dictates the technique that we may end up with on the muscle up. So I don't always try to, I don't try it at all to put some pressure in. You need to do the muscle up without the wrist transition. You need to do the muscle up with the transition.
Another example of that is if you have limited internal rotation, you're not going to like taking a wide grip and trying to flare out like this. Whereas someone else's shoulders, I've got full range of motion there. They could do it easily. So I think it comes back, agree 100% with what you said there. If you need to, based on your anthropometry and mobility as well, choose a position that is just most comfortable. That's the simplest way to look at it.
And the training and results in the training during the progressions and building up the strength towards the regular clean muscle up or perfect muscle up, it will show what kind of style your body wants to go for. And again, is the beauty of calisthenics. You don't have to be, back in the day, for me, it was Zeph and Lee Wade Turner, the examples of the muscle up. Though after time, I realized I don't have to be the next Zeph, the next Lee. They have their own dimension. They created some super techniques of the muscle up. What I did, I've tried to take the best out of both, and I, let's say, created my own. I believe we all have the unique styles of the muscle ups. It doesn't matter how much we want to see the equality. It looks like a muscle up. You go from point A to point B, and you rotate your arms, but we all do it with this little spice of our own to it. You know what I mean? There is still some difference. And coming back to the progressions and the techniques that I would use is, it depends on what we're starting with. The background is different, the fitness background, whether you were the kid that would climb the trees or the one who would sit still. Yes, it already dictates the...
Let's say someone is pretty decent at pull-ups. They can do 10 reps, but they can't do a single muscle-up. I can do so many pull-ups. Why can't I do a muscle-up?
So first thing, I would actually start from hanging hollow to arch reps. It's not something that yes, I know it's not something that most athletes or coaches would go for in the first place. It's just about the ability to control your body while hanging, and like counterdo the extension and to control the flexion of your back, and this arching of the lower back, the compression that happens often.
Because it's not just the hollow body strength, it's the integration of hollow with scapular depression.
Yes, it's few dots to connect on the muscle. That's why when we try to do the muscle up or the high pull up after being able to do 10 calm pull-ups, I will put it this way now, and then when the speed element comes in, the dynamic distraction, I call it, then everything collapses and the lower back compresses, and then you pull not in a hollow or neutral position of your body, but like this. Yes. And then you start to pull with your arched lower back, and the mechanics work this way that your body just comes back to the hollow, to the posterior pelvic tilt. Your legs go to the front, and you are cutting the curve that is needed to be there for the muscle, the C-shaped movement. Yes. You don't have to be an expert to see this. If you're a beginner and you try your muscle up for the first time, you record yourself from the side and you may see this issue. And what to do in this case is dragon flags, hollow to arch on the bar, on the straight arms, on the bent arms. Obviously, practicing the high pull-up, not even completely, like pulling as high as I can, but practicing it segmentally. So only the starting point to work on this connection through your hips to your shoulders, and the toes should be also aligned. They cannot be behind you, as we spoke. Yes. So understanding these pillars for the body alignment and the proper mechanism on the way up. So you are crunching up and squeezing the core, so to speak, while having your hips connected to it, not moving through the hips, because then it breaks like this, not squeezes like this. You know what I mean? Through the hips. Understanding those pillars help you approach the high pull-up better, approach the muscle-up with the band better, because then you come with the intention. You train those progressions with the intention of doing it properly rather than just getting it over the bar. Because there is a muscle-up, but there is also a muscle-up. You know what I mean? Two different muscle-ups.
100%.
Yes. You're not...
And I like the fact that you've highlighted the importance of that initiation phase, because it's make or break at that point. The only exercise I would add, classic calisthenics, there's a million progressions every single time, is a front lever raise with straight arms. I really like this one. It's almost like a bodyweight pullover in a sense, because it helps you to depress the scaps. You've also got that dragon flag-esque position of your core, and you're out horizontal. Combined with what you said, I can't see with time that they won't dominate that initial part of a muscle up.
Yes. The initial part, we should emphasize the start of the movement. The way you start, the way you establish your body before you actually flex the arms, it dictates a lot. And the maximum core contraction and alignment within the body, like tensing up, rigidening up, should come at the moment of this initiation, this start, because when you go from the straight arm into the bent arm position, your body wants to collapse, and you should counter-do it.
Even just starting your muscle up, the swing where you go into the bar forward to create that arc, starting it with an engaged scapula is such a good thing for a beginner, because I've taught many people in workshops and personal training one-on-one. Common thing, they jump into it and they just go down to this elevated shoulder, and they just don't have the strength to set it and then pull.
Get your ears away from your shoulders. That's what I would always say. But I would actually like to emphasize one thing. Sometimes we depress way too much, and the body looks like we lack the overhead mobility. So we may want to leave some room from this depression and from this elevation, and keep it, I call it the bouncy scapula position. So it's not too tense, too loose. It's something that you can kind of stretch the pec over here and go into this swing to the front with the muscle up, so you don't tense up too much. So finding this sweet spot is the way. For me, the frontal part of the muscle up in the swing, I mean, during the swing, should be hands, shoulders, hips, toes aligned. That's the best way to me, because if you overarch over here, if you overstretch here, then your back is extended, and it's not going to help you on the way out, because your body will come back into this hollow body way too soon, and your high pull-up will cut off. Yes, same thing for the muscle up. Yes, it will just be compromised.
Is there any strength goals or standards that people should aim for? If you saw it on paper, X number of reps in these different high pull-ups, that's a good goal to strive for? Because we hear progressions in exercise. It can be just, oh yeah, what level do I need to get with it?
Well, it's a tricky point, because athletes have different weak links, and sometimes the height of your pull-up is on point, but then your internal rotation of the shoulder that helps you get over the bar and get into this bar dip position is not allowing you to do so. Yes, you're just you cannot really roll your shoulder to the front properly.
So if you're lacking dip mobility, then you have to do a higher muscle up to get over the bar to even receive it. Yeah, very interesting.
Exactly. So there is no, there is no specific standard, but of course, when you just get to your waist high in a high pull up with a certain band, resistance band that you use, then you want to, go harder, progress, and use less resistance from the band, or just go without the band and try to, go higher and higher there. Obviously, we have progressions that are more strength based, and there are some progressions like jumping muscle up that are more technique based. Yes. So again, for the jumping muscle up, I often go for the jumping muscle up over the banded muscle ups in the very beginning of the journey. I'm not saying that the bands are bad, but they have the right time and place, so to speak. For the beginner, working with the band sometimes compresses the body and like from the bottom, yes, and kind of disconnects what we want to learn about the body in the context of the muscle up through those hanging hollow to arch reps or just the general connection. Yes, so it may do more harm than good for someone who is lacking the control from toes to the arms.
You're never addressing that weak link of the actual activation you're trying to use.
Yes, exactly. As soon as you master this control over the body with the band, and you're not recording yourself is the best thing to do. When you see that your body is not like, disconnecting from the alignment, yes, when the band is not pulling your legs behind or to the front during the muscle up, then it's fine to use. But jumping muscle up is the tool to go for, in my opinion, for the beginner. Like you did your 10 pull-ups, and now you want to understand what it is like to get over the bar. Yes. So then you may want to include the starting high pull-up position, the initial point. Yes. This half high pull-up, to see what you're missing. Maybe using the band for this. So the goal is not that high to get, all the way to your belly button, but just start properly, so to speak. So you see, the goal of the exercise changes the narrative a lot, because back in the day in my coaching, I would often give the very beginner a high pull-up with the band, but they would fail technically just because of this.
But they're hitting their numbers. Why am I not improving, coach? Why can't I get it?
Exactly. And yes, coming back to those standards, yes, high pull-up, the height should be measured. You can monitor your height of the pull-up. Then the bar dips, or the so-called transition dips, that I love for beginners, for intermediate athletes, especially for someone who's learning the muscle up, is the dip in which is the straight bar dip. Imagine the straight bar dip. I'm going down first, all the way down with my front delt passing the knee, or the elbow, sorry. And then I'm basically, imagine that, going down with my elbows while sticking my chest to the bar. And I'm doing basically
for that transition phase.
Exactly. And it's also a mobility plus strength exercise. It's not just, technique for the muscle up. It's basically your ability to stay with your adductors rigid in here while rotating down and up, which basically happens on the muscle up. It's also a good tool to use in your weighted reps, because on the weighted reps, the height of the pull-up is a little bit compromised naturally. So then you should be able to pick up the transition lower. That's what you can see me doing because of the transition. Of course, the mobility in here, but it's also the shoulder that I'm able to kind of roll forwards and make it counterbalance for the transition.
That is an absolute cheat code there for muscle ups, because people would just look at the wrist, but it's wrist and shoulder. And another thing is, the muscle up, the dip phase, it's so easy. Yes, it is easy, but we're just doing parallel bar dips all the time. The straight bar dip, topic of today's theme of today's video, is a lot of specificity. You still got to do the dip in that straight bar fashion to build up strength and mobility for that transition phase of the muscle up, even if you're more advanced.
Yes, exactly. Just put more weight on it, or more reps, or more time under tension. It's a very nice tool. Very nice. It allows you to also master this close distance to the bar, which makes your muscle up more efficient. The closer you're able to stay to the bar, the faster you perform the muscle up and less hip hinge chance you get, because you don't have to pull from the bar like this and your legs move forwards often. Yes, so it improves mobility, control, grip, and the connection between the pull and the push. Yes, and working with your forearm muscles as well. Yes, it really opens a lot of roads out there.
My closing thoughts for muscle ups, to not overwhelm people, because we've thrown out a lot of progressions, techniques, is going to require a rewatch to fully understand that, is get your weighted pull up, get it stronger. The amount of people I've seen that can do 10, 15 pull-ups in a row with their body weight, but they can't do 25% of their body weight added on a pull-up. They just lack that basic strength, which translates to the power of being able to explosively pull yourself up. So my thing for people first would be build that basic foundation, get your weighted pull-up up. In the 3 to 6 rep range, go heavier, just linear progressive overload. Then start putting in your jumping muscle ups for technique, do your straight bar dips, do your high pulls, and you'll notice that you're not going to have as many of those limitations from the start.
Absolutely true. It doesn't have to be complex, just get stronger, so to speak, with some weighted reps in pull, parallel dip, straight bar dip. Try different grips to improve, understand your body better on the bar. Different grips, it allows you to control it better, like this, like that, twisting, like all those things. It does teach your body a lot of control, and then just move on to the progression that we spoke about. Well put, Daniel.
Thanks, man. If you had to pick only one endurance style of workout or routine or structure, what would be your go-to one?
Weighted reps and sets. So things like 5 pull-ups, 1 muscle up, 5 bar dips with 20 kg, then going down, something like this. Or, not to sound crazy, just like one of my favorite workouts would be a drop set, 5 muscle ups, 5 bar dips, 5 pull-ups with 20 kg. Then same thing with 15, same thing with 10, same thing with 5, and same thing body weight 4 times, for example. This kind of stuff, or the competitive endurance sets. So coming back to the barbarian requirements, or something like 5MD, 5 minutes drill. Yes, the 50 pull-ups, 100 push-ups within 5 minutes time or faster. Yes, it's the roots of my training that I come from. Is the barbarian philosophy helped me a lot in my vision. It played a big role. So all the sets out there are based on the higher volume, higher intensity, and throwing in some weights for sure. So sets without leaving the bar with some elements to it.
Old school sets and reps, high rep calisthenics is just, I love it. I got to get back into it this summer. I might be doing some routines in the park, so watch out for that. Yeah, man, I got to get back. I'm inspired after this conversation.
That's I love to hear it, because I remember you doing the endurance in like 2010s, like mostly the reps, and yeah, it was what a time, man. What a time. How calisthenics evolved so much since then. It's
so deep. Yeah, I've noticed maybe this is just social media across the board, but it's a little bit more combative, a little bit less inclusive, a little bit of, oh, you're doing a muscle up, your technique's bad. Oh, you're doing this. It's like training form versus actual competition form. In my mind, real talk, if you're doing calisthenics, when I first started, I was just so happy to meet someone that was doing calisthenics. I could not care what level they're at. It's like, man, you positive, you working hard, you're doing calisthenics, let's be mates.
Absolutely true. It even gave me goosebumps, literally. It's just what we are here for. Like, it's nice to exchange the information, to know each one, teach one. It doesn't meet up, share the workout, and stay happy. I would call it this way.
Facts, man. Where can people go to follow you if they're not already?
Saibov, SAIBOV on Instagram. I have my website, also mylastname.com. You can find the programs out there, the coaching services, some collaboration possibilities. On YouTube, I have been silent, but I am actually coming back with tutorials these days. So this podcast comes just right on time. So it's just
Promo.
yes. And also Cyboff on YouTube. Guys, I'm just happy to be here, being able to talk to you, Daniel. Thank you for this opportunity, for giving me the microphone, so to speak. And it's an honor. Just thank you guys for listening, honestly. And follow me.
Good on you, Cyboff. See you, mate.